If you're thinking about getting back with your ex, watch this first, or you'll regret it all over again.
We're going live, baby.
We'll do it live.
You're listening to the premier podcast for men who want to not only be better with women, but want to be better men in general. This is the Come On Man podcast. And here's your host,
Paul Bauer.
Paul Bauer.
Paul Bauer.
Paul Bauer.
Paul Bauer.
Paul Bauer. He is a certified master life coach and NLP practitioner.
Guess what day it is, guys? Guess what day it is? Yes, you guessed it. It's Breakup Wednesday. And it's also Hump Day. Guys, if you are new to the channel, my name is Paul Bauer, and I help men level up and get better with women. And the funny thing about doing that is it tends to make us better men in all areas of our lives. Did you know that too many men fall into the same trap? She leaves, they panic, and suddenly their mission in life becomes getting her back. But here's the brutal truth. Getting back with your ex rarely works. Why? Because the same story always ends the same way. Same arguments, same disappointments, same heartbreak again. But today, I'm going to show you how to finally break that cycle for good. And if you stick with me to the end, you'll understand why chasing her to get her back is the last thing you need. And what you need instead is to win your life back. This sounds like something you need, then stick around, okay? So you can finally get out of that mental loop of wanting her back. Before we get into it, guys, do be sure to like, subscribe, hit those notifications. I do have new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Wednesdays are now Breakup Wednesdays, because I have a new book coming out. Anyway, more on that later. Guys, if you are watching live right now, sound up in the live chat. I want to hear from you. And if you have any questions, do consider sending that as a super chat. One, it supports the show. And two, it helps me find it better in the sea of comments during the live stream. And then also, you guys get the booty shaking video. You know what you know what I'm about. You know what I'm about. All right, let's put that back up there. Let's talk about why getting her back rarely works, and why some people fall into the trap of rekindling broken relationships. I talked about it a little bit last week, right? And the way we're doing these episodes, at least for the first few weeks here, is we're basically following my new book, Forget That Bish, which you can pre-order now on Kindle edition, right? But the books drop on June 6th, right? The way the book goes, Chapter 1 talks about why getting an ex back is a terrible idea. And it follows along the concept of Iron Rule of Tomasi number 7, which says don't go rooting through the trash, right? Chapter 2, which we talked about last week, we essentially talked about the theme of Chapter 2. Chapter 2 is, yeah, but I want her back. Because there's guys out there, no matter what you tell them, they're like, yeah, I just need her back though. Okay. Like I understand. I know I need to move on, but I can't stop thinking about her. And if I just get her back, I can fix everything. Right. So, okay. So chapter 2 says, this is how you get her back. All right. And it actually has some case studies of guys who've gotten back with their exes. Right. And then chapter 3, which is kind of what we're talking about today, is all about, okay, now you got her back. That didn't work out. Now what? Right now you've experienced heartbreak twice, and now it's time to get over this crap. Okay. But that's the thing, right? People, they obsess over it. It ends up being an obsession. Because that rejection breeds obsession. Their egos can't handle it. It's not even about love and, oh, she's my soulmate and all this kind of stuff. It's, I can't handle this rejection. I know I'm good enough. Let me prove it. Right. Also, when they get back out in the dating circuit and they suck at dating, because dating is a skill. Okay. Just like anything else in life, dating is a skill. And if I can do it looking like all of this, you can do it too. But a lot of people, they get so frustrated with the dating process that they give up too easy, and their ex looks like a low-hanging fruit. And so they're just like, well, it's just going to be easier to patch things up with her. And then you get this, if you actually do get her back, you get this emotional high, right? Oh, I did it. I got her back. I succeeded. But then it's that dopamine hit slowly fades when you enter reality and you realize you haven't done a dang thing. We're not at the 8-minute mark. You haven't done a dang thing to improve yourself that would even remotely change the outcome of this. You're still the same guy. And she realizes it too. When you guys get back together, you immediately fall back into the old habits. You start fighting again. You guys start bickering and arguing. And then she realizes, oh yeah, this is why I dumped him the first time. Oh yeah, let me dump him again. Okay. And then she has these preconceived notions of you. She's seen you at your absolute worst. She's seen you at your absolute worst. You've left an impression on you, and all she can do the whole time after you get back together with her is compare this new you to the old you, right? Is this really new? Is he really changed? Or she's just looking for chinks in your armor, and she's waiting for you to let her down. She's almost going to self-sabotage things at this point because she's looking for a reason to dump you again. She's got a preconceived notion about you. She knows, okay, this new act that he's doing, I don't believe it for a second. I don't believe it for a second, right? And that preconceived notion rarely changes. She's seen you at your absolute worst, especially if you're a guy who didn't learn all this red pill stuff in that relationship. You didn't learn it until after the fact, and you're like, oh crap, I've done everything wrong my whole life. Okay, she still sees you as the old blue pill guy. She sees you as the old unattractive blue pill guy, and almost nothing you do will change that. She's always going to be testing you. She's always going to be running you through the gauntlet, and it'll become exhausting after a while. Right? The illusion of hope versus the facts right? So a lot of the times too, when we're fantasizing about getting our ex back, we have this illusion of hope in our mind. We start going, yeah, we start believing, yeah, she wants us back. And we start looking for every little thing that might be a signal, it might be a raindrop that she wants us back. And when you start looking for things like that, your reticular activating system kicks in, and you start looking at every little thing she does as some kind of sign, but it's an illusion. It's an illusion. She doesn't actually want you back. You know, sometimes these chicks just want to see if you're still watching them. You know, oh, is she still paying attention? I'm gonna like his Instagram stories. He's still paying attention. Oh, and then she likes your Instagram story, and you lose your mind. Oh, what's this? A sign? It just means she wants me back, right? A lot of times, like, women just want to keep you on the hook just in case, right? Keep you on the back burner as a backup option, right? But she has no real desire to have you back, right? She, just in case whatever's going on with her right now doesn't quite work out, you'll pass the time until I find someone better. Oh man. Here's the thing, like, relationships, the glue that holds like relationships together, right, is genuine desire. Okay. And or you know, and that usually manifests itself in lots of steamy, hot, passionate sex, right? But relationships are also built on patterns over time. And once you become predictable, once you become a guy where she can guess like your every move because you're a boring guy that doesn't create mystery in the relationship because you fall back in complacency and stuff like that. She's going to know everything about you, and she's going to guess everything. There was a situation years ago when, man, it was probably it was probably a year. It was a year and a half after Red Pill Chick and I broke up, where she came sniffing back around. It was like in November that year. I distinctly remember this because she texted me out of nowhere, right? She texted me out of nowhere. I didn't want her back. But it was shocking that she texted me out of nowhere. And the thing is that I asked her, I straight up asked her at the time, like, hey, are you still with that guy? Yeah, I'm still with him. Right. But in my mind, knowing all this stuff, I'm like, oh, she's monkey branching right now. Right. She's trying to reach back out to the back burner because this isn't working out. Like, that's pretty insulting, right? Anyway, I was like, what can I do for you? And she's like, oh, I was just, hoping that, we could be friends and stuff like that. And I was like, I'm not interested in being friends. Have a good day. Just like left her like that. Right. Well, later on, just a couple months later in that following January, she liked me on Tinder. Right. All of a sudden, like I see, and I always paid for the premium on Tinder just so I can see who's swiping on me. It allows me to be more passive. I recommend doing that if you're out dating and you can afford it. I'm a top G. Okay. Anyway, I don't recommend the $400. They have a $400 a month Tinder option. Like, that better come with a hooker. That better come with a hooker. Anyway, she swipes on me. And I sat there for like a good 10 minutes just staring at my phone, going, do I want to swipe on this and open this can of worms? But I had some questions, right? Because at this point, I was like, man, I think she cheated on me. She cheated on me. The guy that she ended up with was a guy that she was sort of hanging around a lot right before we broke up. And then she invited that guy over, and he was so kind enough to bring a ladder over and a Wagner power painter to help her paint her bedroom. Isn't that nice, guys? I think that's very nice of him. And then the next time I went down to hang out, like, all my stuff was conveniently put away, right? Like, my toothbrush was hidden away in the bathroom drawer, right? Even though there's a toothbrush carousel or whatever you call those things sitting on the counter, but my toothbrush was down in the drawer. Isn't that weird, guys? That's weird. Anyway, but I had to know. Like, I didn't necessarily want her back, right? But I had questions. And so my 3% brother, Luke, and we came up with a master plan after this. But anyway, I swiped right on her. And after I swiped right, I spent 10 minutes staring at the phone like, do I want to do this? I swiped right. She immediately messages me back going, I knew you'd swipe right. Because I was like, oh, am I that predictable? Right? Am I that predictable? She knows me, right? She knows me. They know you. Your relationship is built on patterns. And she's looking for these patterns. Okay. Anyway, I ended up going on a couple of dates with her, and I did essentially get everything I wanted to know. She denied the cheating part, but like we know, right? Like, you just don't put a toothbrush down in the drawer for no reason in the bathroom for a guy that's coming over to help you paint walls, right? Anyway, men lie themselves all the time, though. Men will gaslight themselves during this process. They will tell themselves and convince themselves it will be different this time. When I get back together, it'll be different. It probably won't be different. Probably won't. In fact, the odds are not in your favor on that one. It won't be different. Now, there's something that I talk about in Forget That Bitch. We're past the 8-minute mark. I can say it like that. There's something I talk about in Forget That Bitch called emotional homeostasis and why men stay where it hurts. We have a negativity bias in our brains. It almost feels better to wallow in misery and pity and sadness. It almost feels better. And it's hard to snap out of it. Like, have you ever been in a place where you're just feeling so depressed and you just can't possibly snap out of it? And you just like, I'm going to go drink alcohol. And then the alcohol's a depressant and it just makes you just kind of go down that negative spiral even more. Right? that's kind of what I'm talking about here. Emotional homeostasis, right? Where men like to stay where it hurts, right? This is a fancy way of saying that people are comfortable with what they know, even if it's bad for them too, right? Sometimes. Think of guys who keep trying to get their crazy ex back, even though she cheats on him, she gaslights him all the time, she treats him poorly, she emotionally abuses him. But these guys, they can't get enough because they're used to it. They're used to it. This is what I know. I know this, and yeah, it's painful, but it's comfortable because I know it, you know? Is this making sense to you? Nod your head if this is making sense. It's what he knows. It's like an old worn out shoe. Right? Yeah, he could find a better girl. That's too much work. This negative toxic relationship is comfortable. It's like an old worn out shoe. Even if there's a hole in the sole of the shoe and he keeps getting rocks in his shoe, he just won't get a new pair. He tries to tough it out with duct tape, but it always wears through again. Always walking around with rocks in your shoe. Oh man, if you're nodding your head right now to this kind of thing you've experienced before, right? Smash that like button and then go ahead and follow me on social media. The links are in the description for that. I'm on all the good platforms. I do have a free ebook. I've had this up the whole time. The link's in the description for this. It's my ebook that says, fine, here's how to get her back, right? And it takes you through a proven process to get your ex back. But the whole time you're reading this, I'm also explaining why it's a terrible idea. Okay. And that's the goal. I know in your heart of hearts, you need to move on. You just can't bring yourself to do it. You can't stop thinking about her. All right, fine. Fine. Here's how to get her back. All right. It's going to end the same, bro. It's going to end the same. Okay. Get the ebook. Links in the description for that. And when you get that ebook, it does talk about my new book that comes out June 6th. Forget That Bitch. You can pre-order it now on Kindle edition. The link is in the description for that now. If you scroll down in the description, you can check that out. But at the very least, get that free ebook, okay? All right. Now let's talk about why you're addicted to the pain and you don't even know it. You don't even realize you're addicted to this pain. Okay. The comfort zone of chaos. Why we tend to go back to what's familiar, right? It's that emotional homeostasis thing again. Like it's like we're used to it. We know this outcome. It's kind of like the devil you know. It's better. The devil you know is better than the devil you don't, right? Now you got to go and start all over with a new girl. And for a lot of guys, that sounds exhausting and daunting. And I don't want to do this all over again. But all the work that you're going to put in on yourself, right? When you forget that bitch and you put in all this work on yourself, it's going to be better effort spent meeting a new girl than it will be trying to get her back. It will be. And you'll be in a better relationship. Want to know why? Because she doesn't have these preconceived notions about you. These new girls don't have these preconceived notions about you. This new you to them is you. You don't have to like constantly qualify yourself to these women because this new you is you now. And they will just accept that because they don't know otherwise. Okay. It's a much easier sell to a new girl than it will be to an ex who doesn't believe any of it. Let's talk about how false hope destroys progress. Right? This is basically confirmation bias. This is the same thing I was talking about before, right? Any perceived sign from her is your mind playing tricks on you. You start looking at her Facebook posts like, oh, is she posting that for me? Is she posting something to send a message to me? And you're going to read into every little thing she does. You're going to read into every little thing she's doing or not doing as some kind of potential sign that she's somehow communicating to you that she really wants you back, right? Like you're just going to build this story up in your mind. And you're going to be thinking that these are raindrops. What do I mean by raindrops? If you guys have ever taken my practical law of attraction course, which I haven't advertised in a while, but if you go to loa.comeonmanpod.com, I talk about practical law of attraction, right? Which takes all the woo-woo out of it and explains it from a psychological perspective. But I talk about in there, like when you have goals in mind, big goals, and you want to achieve these goals, and it could be anything. It could be making more money. It could be getting a new girl. It could be better health or whatever. The more you focus on your goals, the more you're actually going to start seeing signs that what you're doing is working. And I call those raindrops. You'll see these little things that just pop up out of nowhere. That's sort of like a sign that it's working. And sort of a false version of that is when you are hoping to get your ex back and you start looking at anything as a perceived sign. You're just going to start telling yourself it's a sign. It's not raindrops, right? You're thinking the raindrops that she wants you back because you've convinced yourself that she wants you back. I'm here to tell you she doesn't want you back, bro. She might want you around as a backup option, as second fiddle, but she doesn't want you back. She doesn't want you back, man. And the thing is once it finally dawns on you that she absolutely really doesn't want you back, you're fucking crushed by it because you've built up in your mind this fantasy that isn't real. And when it all comes crashing down, you're heartbroken all over again. You're just compounding the pain. I talk about the lie of relationship amnesia and selective memory. Now, for you guys who are veterans out there, you guys know exactly what I'm talking about when I say this, because as a United States Navy veteran, I've been out since 2002. When I think back on my Navy days, I only tend to recall the good times. I only tend to recall the cool old man sea stories, right? One of my newer beer club brothers, I don't know if he's in the chat right now. One of my newer beer club brothers, he and I actually grew up together. In fact, his older brother is my best friend since kindergarten. And he and I, like, we all joined the Navy around the same time. Well, beer club brother ended up joining the Marines, right? But his older brother and I, we joined the Navy at the same time. And then let's see here, like all of us, my big friend group, we all joined the Navy. My friend Kyle, my friend Ben, beer club brothers, brother Nate, we all joined the U.S. Navy at the same time. And Nate and I, we would always talk about how we wanted to join the Navy. So we have these old man sea stories because our dads were in the Navy and they had these old man sea stories that we grew up listening to. And we're like, man, wouldn't it cool to have our own stories? And so now I'm an old man and I have my old man sea stories. But the thing is, the Navy fucking sucked. It was 4 years of hell. And I remember in the Navy, when I think back about the bad times, I just remember, like, for 4 years going, man, I can't wait until I get out. I can't wait till I get out. And near the end, I was thinking about possibly re-enlisting, but then I changed my mind on it, but being underway for 6 months at a time. And then you keep getting diverted because there's like a typhoon. And then when you finally hit land, right, because you're avoiding typhoons and stuff like that, you hit land and then you're only there for 24 hours and then they sortie you to the Gulf and you're literally underway for 45 days straight because the USS Cole got bombed. And so you get a beer day. It fucking sucks. It's like prison. You can't go anywhere. The ship is 500 feet long. Where are you going to go? You're out in the middle of the Persian Gulf, which is hotter than fuck. And it sucks out there. It just sucks. It sucks ass. And then you get these Haji sodas. That's what we call them. These little tiny crappy sodas that don't taste like regular sodas. You got overseas cigarettes that taste really nasty. Everything sucks. Food sucks. You got to clean all the time. Right? Like, I remember being in port, even when we were in port and then we were in the dry docks. Now you got a needle gun, non-skid, stuff like that. Fucking sucks. Okay. It's just a sucky shit job. And I just remember us sitting there thinking that, like, there was this joke that we had that McDonald's was our dream job because you clean the oven because it's dirty, not because it's Wednesday. You know what I mean? Like that. This is the kind of shit, right? But when you think back on it, you don't think about all the crappy stuff that you did. You don't think about the time that Brother Beach threw up outside the chart room in the P-way because he got seasick and you had to fucking clean it up. Like, you don't think about that kind of shit, right? You think about the good times. Well, the same thing happens when you break up with your ex, right? You break up and now you want her back because all you can do is think about the wonderful times you guys had together, the times you were in love, the times you were romantic, like the hot, heavy, crazy sex and stuff like that. You don't think about all the fights. You don't think about all the times she gaslit you. You don't think about the time she fucking slashed your tires and shit, right? You don't think about that kind of stuff because you've got relationship amnesia now. You're only thinking about the good stuff. And finally, let's talk about why most personal growth post-breakup is really performative. It's really performative. I saw this a lot. When I was in the original 3% man group, a lot of the guys who came to that group, I mean, a good bunch of those guys were there to get their exes back. They all started studying Corey Wayne's stuff. And they were drawn into the space because he has his 7 ways to get your ex back. So all these guys were reading Corey's book in an effort to get her back. It's just one big covert contract when you think about it, right? You're not actually improving yourself to improve yourself, to level up in life, to get like, so I say, I help men level up to get better with women because that's usually the motivation, right? I've got to get the ex back. I got to get more pussy. I got to fix my dead bedroom. I got to get my wife to fuck me again. Like whatever it is, women are the motivation. But you got to realize that all the stuff that you're doing in order to get better with women, it's not just about women. It makes you better men in all areas of your life. You'll do better in business. You'll go further in business. You'll get better jobs. You'll go for that next promotion. You'll be more decisive in the office. You'll start setting the tone and leading in meetings and stuff like that, right? You're going to look people in the eye more. They're going to trust you more. It just makes you better in all areas of your life. You're going to realize that your body language is telling people certain things, and you're going to work on your body language around everybody, not just with women, you see. But these guys that come to the space to try to get their ex back, all they're doing is working on themselves just enough to get her to bring him back. And then they stop doing the work and they fall back on old programming. Okay. I have a story for you. Legacy date coach client. I tried to save this guy from heartbreak twice, but he wouldn't listen. Okay. Let's call him Rick. He was smart, successful, great shape, but emotionally he was stuck. His girlfriend had dumped him 3 months earlier, and all he talked about was getting her back. And I told him, man, if you go back now, you're just walking into the same fire that burned you the first time. He nodded, said he understood, but deep down, he wasn't listening. He wasn't fucking listening. Rick did everything on the surface, right? He started going to the gym. He pretended to embrace no contact. He told me, I'm doing the work, bro. I'm leveling up. But every session, all he wanted to know was, what do I say if she texts me? What if she sees my story? Should I comment on her posts? And I told him again and again, this isn't about her, bro. This isn't about her. This is about you rebuilding you. I even told him to block her on social media. That I'm one of the only guys in this fucking space that'll tell you, no, block her. Block her on social media. Okay. Completely disregarded my advice. A month later, she texted him, hey, I miss you. And he lit up like a fucking kid on Christmas morning. And just like that, he threw everything out the window. Right? They got back together. And for 2 weeks, he was on top of the world. 2 Whole weeks. Messaged me on Telegram and said, told you, she just needed to see that I'd changed. I'm like, okay, we'll see, bro. We'll see. But change built on a lie will always collapse, okay? Week 3, the same fight started again. She made a comment about how he still seemed insecure. He started trying harder to impress her, more gifts, more compliments, walking on eggshells, that old chestnut. Then one night, she told him, I don't think this is working. And she dumped him again. Only this time, it hit him harder. Why do you think it hit him harder? Because now he had to face the truth that he hadn't changed. He was just being performative. He was doing the dancing monkey act. He messaged me the next day, tail between his legs, saying, I should have listened. I told him, man, I never want to be right. Like, I don't want to be right about this kind of stuff. Okay, but when you've been seeing this stuff, you've been working on this for a fucking decade, you've seen hundreds and thousands of guys do the same shit, this stuff becomes predictable. Okay? I don't want to be right? But I've seen the story too many times. You can't become a better man just to win her back. You have to do it because you're done being the man that she left. So you're doing it for the wrong reasons. And Rick finally got it, and that's when the real work began, not with a text, not with a date, but with a decision, right? And if you're watching this thinking, damn, that's me, stick around, okay? Because in the next segment, I'm going to show you the exact steps Rick should have taken from day one, the steps that don't just help heal, but help you evolve. Cool? Cool. All right. Guys, when are you going to get in my beer club? beer.comeonmanpod.com. You know, we're talking about rebranding the beer club in the beer club. And one of the big reasons for it is the name beer club confuses so many men. They think, I'd love to join your group. It sounds really cool, but I don't drink, bro. Like, I don't like it's not about beer, right? It's not, it's just the name. Like the original idea was that it's a relaxing place to hang out with other guys, right? But so many people get hung up on that name beer club that I'm like, I just can't do that anymore. I gotta change this. So we're still kicking around an idea for it, but the one that I shared with the group last night, I think we're probably going to go with that one. I'm pretty excited about that one, but unless one of the guys in the group comes up with a fucking banger, that's probably what we're going to go with. But let me just play a commercial for Beer Club real quick. Get you guys thinking about getting in there, because a group of us goes further faster than trying to do shit alone. Okay. So check this out.
Here's a harsh truth that everybody gets upset about online when I say it. They get upset because of their ego investment into the fairy tale idea of love and partnership. They get upset because of their ego investment into the idea that their woman is their best friend, their confidant, and they think that love will conquer all, and that their woman will be there through thick and thin. The truth is that as a man, your woman is hardwired biologically and psychologically to want you to be her rock. It doesn't work the other way around. Women do not care about your struggles as a man. They may think they care. They may even want to care, but her evolutionary DNA will not let her care. If you bring her your problems, she will lose attraction for you over time, and she will leave. Now, whenever I talk about this, people lose their minds and start talking about men unaliving themselves. The faster that men learn that women don't care about our struggles, the faster we'll save the lives of men. Men off themselves because of their own ego investments in the Disney fairy tale lie. And when that fairy tale goes up in flames, they get zeroed out and they end things. Men do need a proper outlet for dealing with their problems, but going to their woman isn't the answer. Men need a tribe. They need a brotherhood. That's why I created my beer club. It's a monthly virtual hangout for men only. It's a place where men can be men. It's a place where men can talk about guy stuff without having to worry about offending women. It's a place where they can go without having to worry about being called toxically masculine. It's a place where they can go to solve their problems. Because men solve problems. women cause problems, you dig? Visit beer.comeonmanpod.com. That's beer.comeonmanpod.com to sign up.
Yes, indeed. And then, guys, if you want to work with me one-on-one, that's available too. You can book a call by going to call.fixdeadbedrooms.com. But I'm telling you what, when you go to that, that will redirect you to my Calendly page. I have some questions for you. If you answer the questions in a way that tells me that you're just tire kicking and you have no interest in actually getting coaching, I'm not going to keep the call. I'm just going to cancel it and send you an email. I had a guy out of England. He's booked with me twice, and both times he said he wouldn't invest in coaching. He would avoid it at all costs, and he's just looking for information. Well, I'll tell you what, if you just want information, read my book. He'll give you all the information you need, okay? But if you were serious about working one-on-one, you need help, you know you can't do this alone, then by all means, book a call with me, okay? But let's not waste each other's time, all right? And then let's see here. We have some people in the chat. Nurse Chick's in the house. She says, "Good morning, gentlemen. Happy hump day." Girl, you already know.
So naughty.
Such a bad
I'm
girl.
gonna come.
Yes. And then let's see here. Erkin says, "Paul, you need a 30-second countdown because YouTube puts 2 ads as soon as I get online." Well, here he goes, 30-second countdown before you start speaking. Here's an idea, Erkin. How about you guys all just send me super chats and then I can turn off the fucking ads? How about that? And Dottie says, "I'm not a fan of giving or keeping access and space in my life for exes. I won't see their stories or posts and they won't see mine." Smart woman. Is it worse when she denies it afterwards and you already know the truth? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Are you talking about how Red Pill Chick basically lied to me? Yeah. I don't think it's worse. I just it just kind of, I just sort of expect it. And let's see, like everything in her life, it's a joke that God did. I don't know. Dude, I have no idea what you're talking about, CJ. No idea what you're talking about, bro. Ray says, "Don't try to get her back. It gets you back 100%. All right. Mike Steele sent 2 super chats. He says, I'll start with the $2 one. "Leveling up starts here." And he taps his head just like that. I concur. I'm going to give him the shaking booty first.
Super chat, we see you there. Shake it, dance without a care. Sending love from everywhere. Groovy beats we all can share. Your support is so divine. Moving closer to the line. Thank you, you're the best. Party on, we never rest.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. And then Mike says, "But Paul, the poon was so good. I'll never find a gal like her ever again." I've mentioned this on the podcast before, right? Even if you think that your girl is 1 in a million, right? Or your ex is 1 in a million, mathematically speaking, since there's 4 billion women on the planet, that means that there's 4,000 women exactly like her out there. You're fine, bro. You'll do just fine. You'll do just fine. And then on top of that, my good friend, legendary porn star Eric Everhard, if you ever get your hands on his first book, the Unleash Your Sexual Superpowers, if you ever get your hands on that book because it's out of print, one of the things that he talks about there is this concept called the lock and key. The lock and key, I don't know, belief or whatever. I don't know. But essentially, it's like your dick is meant to fit in a certain type of vagina. And there's only 4 types of vaginas out there. And 1 out of the 4 is going to feel better than the other 3. Okay. But there's only 4 types out there. And if there's 4 billion women on the planet, that means there's 1 billion women with each type of vagina. Okay. Let's get into this here. This is going off the rails. All right. Let's talk about breaking the cycle for good. Okay. The number one thing you will hear about getting your ex back, it's included in the free ebook, is no contact. You got to go no contact. Why do you go no contact when you're trying to get your ex back? Because all the same shit that you're going through, right? Where you have that sort of relationship amnesia. When you go through that, let's see. Yeah, when you have that relationship amnesia, she develops that too. But the thing is that the more you stay on her radar, the more that you're posting stories and she can see what you're doing and you're seeing what she's doing, you're not able to create that relationship amnesia. You're not allowing her to forget all the bad stuff and only remember the good stuff. Okay. You're not letting her do that. So you going no contact allows you to create that separation and allows her to start to rebuild that mystery, get her to start wondering about you, get her to go into the relationship amnesia. That's the idea. Okay. But in reality, what it's better for is so that she's out of your mind. You can't get her out of your mind if she's always right in front of you. So for me, no contact is a good practice, even if you're not trying to get her back. Go no contact because you need to forget that bitch. Okay. You need to get her out of your mind. And if she's in front of you at all, if you're seeing what she's doing on social media and you're still staying abreast of what activities she's doing, she's not out of sight, out of mind. She's just going to be something that you're going to continue to obsess over. So I don't say, hey, just stop talking to her. I go an extra step and say, block her on all social media. Just fucking block her, bro. Okay. And it's more to keep you from looking at her stuff than it is to stop her from looking at your stuff. Okay. It's for you. It's not for her. Because one of the things that I realized especially when I was going through the breakup process, it took me a year to feel like I had gotten over that. Okay. And then one day, a year later, I decided to check her socials and it sent me it messed me all up. It's not that I wanted her back. It was that, that's really when I was like, oh man, she probably cheated on me. Right. And that's all I could think about. And it was because I had a moment of weakness and I checked her socials. So after that, I blocked her on social media because I was like, man, I'm not strong enough. I'm not strong enough to keep myself from looking at her stuff. I have to put some kind of barrier there that will prevent it. Okay. Now at any time you can go and unblock her and look at her stuff. Right. But it's just an added thing that when you do have that moment of weakness and you go to look up her stuff, you can't because it says, like her stuff doesn't show up because she's blocked. Right. So then you'll have to go through all your settings, find the people you blocked and unblock her just to look at her stuff. It's a lot of extra work and you probably won't do that. So I recommend doing that. Now, a lot of people, the first thing that people say is really they're just looking for an excuse to keep in contact with her. Okay. This is usually the question I get. What if we have shared children together and we have to do co-parenting? For that, I say block her on all social media. You don't need to see what she's doing on social media. You just you don't, right? If she needs to get a hold of you, like she has your phone number, right? She probably has your email. She can contact you in a traditional manner. Okay. But otherwise, there's no reason to keep social medias there and keep tabs on what she's doing. Okay. There's no reason to do that. And it's going to be for your own mental clarity of removing that time and attention from her. Stop looking at her shit. Start focusing on you. Okay. And you've got to reprogram your mindset. You've got to get rid of this scarcity thinking. You've got to develop an abundant mindset when it comes to women. Okay. It's not just a law of attraction thing. It's a real thing and it works with women too. Okay. But the reason why a lot of guys hyper focus on exes or the one is because they have a scarcity mindset. A lot of guys who are in marriages and and they're afraid of losing their wife or whatever. And they, a lot of it is because they have the scarcity mindset. They're afraid of what life's going to be like on the dating circuit. They haven't dated in 20 years. They don't know what the fuck they're doing anymore. Am I ever going to find a woman that ever loves me again? When I got divorced, I had this mindset for like a year. I was like, oh man, I'm never going to find a woman that'll love me again. Like I thought that for a long time. Right. And then of course I got involved with Red Pill Chick because she was the first girl that was nice to me, right? Like first girl that touched my dick after my marriage. And I immediately fell in love and went all in and made that mistake. Right. And that's what guys do, right? They have the scarcity mindset. And so even if they know they can't get their ex back, they're back on the dating circuit. They go all in and sniper date, and they go all in on one girl at a time, and they build it up in their mind. We have this thing called chronesthesia, where we sort of mentally time travel. In NLP, we call it future pacing. Right. But you start thinking about this imaginary future with each girl that you're talking to on the dating apps. And you're imagining what it's like living with her and having kids with her and all this kind of stuff. And it ruins you because you don't have this abundance mindset. Now you're thinking, I can only get this one girl. And then when this girl doesn't work out, and you get mentally crushed, and then the dating experience sucks. Okay. You've got to stop doing that. There's 4 billion women on the planet. There's always another woman. You've got to have that mindset. There's always another woman, right? That's abundance thinking. Because what's miraculous about it is when you have that abundance thinking, even if you are in a relationship and you're like, I'm not worried about losing this relationship because there's 4 billion other women on the planet. It makes you less of a needy person, which makes you more attractive. But if you have a scarcity mentality and you're like, she's my one, she's the one, she's my soulmate, I have to make it work with her. Now you are actually becoming more of an unattractive guy because you are needy and insecure, and she can smell that like sharks smell blood. So you just having this knowledge that there's always another woman, like there's nothing to worry about, it makes you more of a secure, attractive guy. Okay. A good analogy to think of when you're thinking of abundance thinking, whether it's money, whether it's women, whether it's whatever. Think about the air you're breathing right now. Do you ever worry that the next breath is not going to come? Do you ever sit there and go, oh my God, I better breathe as much oxygen as I can right now because there might not be any in 5 minutes? No, you don't think about it at all, do you? You just keep breathing. In fact, it's subconscious. You just keep doing it. Like it's because you're not worried about not having oxygen because there's an abundant supply of oxygen on this planet. That's abundance thinking. So if you think about women the same way, right? I don't have to worry about her because there's always another woman. There's like, there's at least 50 women on my block right now. You know what I mean? If you have that mentality that there's always going to be another woman, it doesn't matter. Then you stop being this insecure, unattractive guy. And women love that. Okay. It actually makes you more of an attractive guy. One of the things that I invite you to do with, I don't really invite people to do it with my first book. I mean, you can do it with my first book, but with Psychology Paradigm, with Get Her to Fuck You Again, with Forget That Bitch, when it comes out here in June, one of the things that I recommend you guys doing, whatever you're working on, okay, if you're working on trying to fix things with your wife, and you're reading Get Her to Fuck You Again, don't just read it once and put it back on your bookshelf. Read it 10 to 15 times. Okay. I'm going to recommend, if you're trying to get over your ex, read Forget That Bitch 10 to 15 times. Because repetition is the mother of skill. One of the biggest complaints I had with Get Her to Fuck You Again, if you guys read if you watch Aaron Clary's non-review of my book, and if you go and look at a lot of the Amazon reviews, I think the biggest complaint is that it's repetitive. I did that on purpose. I did that on purpose because that repetition is the mother of skill. The more you read this stuff on repeat or listen to it on repeat, the more it seeps into your subconscious and becomes a paradigm. Right? So the goal of all these books is to reprogram your mindset when it comes to women. Okay? And until you do that, until you take it seriously and do that kind of work and reprogram your mindset to have more of that dominant masculine presence, you're always going to have these same problems with women. You're always going to have them. One of the things I was chatting with one of my beer club brothers last night, and he's having marital problems, and that's why he's in beer club, and he's doing the workbook for get her to fuck you again, and he's reading the book and stuff too. He's putting the work in. His wife is at a point where she's drafting up a separation agreement already, and what I told him is, I said, look, don't worry about that kind of stuff. Okay. I was like, just keep doing the workbook, keep reading the book, keep focusing on this. I was like, even if it doesn't, even if your wife doesn't get on board and you can't turn this around, you're never going to have to deal with this again. Because this is his second marriage, right? And it's just like I tell people, if you don't work on this stuff, you're going to have the same problems in your next relationship because you're the common denominator. So if if you're in this position where you're trying to like turn your marriage around and you're reading Get Her to Fuck You Again, like there's a chance that she might not get on board. And that's okay, because you're at least never going to have to deal with this shit ever again. Okay? Because you're going to be prepared in the next relationship, right? With one of the other 4 billion women on the planet that's going to appreciate this work that you're doing. Build a new life, not a new version of the old one, okay? Your mission after a breakup isn't to try to rebuild the ruins. Your mission is to build a new kingdom for yourself. Right? Don't go back to the ruins, build a new castle. One of the opening sequence for the podcast back in the old days, if you guys go back to like episode 1 and 2, they were terrible. Terrible episodes. But if you go back to the old episodes, some of you guys might recognize that theme song, especially if you're wrestling fans, right? But I used to play Kingdom by Downstate, just the musical version, not all the lyrics, but the song was Kingdom by Downstate. And if you guys know the lyrics, because it's Cody Rhodes' theme song, and Cody Rhodes was the WWE champion up until WrestleMania. His whole song is about how he got discarded, right? Got discarded, and now he's on his own building his kingdom. And so like that song really spoke to me, because at the time when I first started the podcast, I was rebuilding myself after a breakup. I was building my kingdom. Okay. That's what you want to do. You don't want to go back and try to put the ruins together. Okay. The foundation's cracked. It's all going to crumble down again. Okay. Build a new kingdom for yourself, a better one. You're going to want to set real boundaries and enforce them. Okay. And you got to understand this. Like, what are boundaries? Boundaries aren't threats. Okay. They're standards. They're not about controlling other people. They're about what you will and will not tolerate in your life. My son, he's coming to me for game advice now. He's got a girlfriend and she ain't acting right. You know what I mean? She ain't acting right. He's so funny because he sends me, he brings over his phone yesterday and he goes, "Dad, what do I say to this?" And he hands me a text conversation that he had with her. And so I'm looking at it and I just start scrolling up. He goes, no, Dad, I just want to know what to say to that last one. I go, I need to know the context here. So I go and I scroll up through his phone. I go, so let me get this straight. She is mad at you and you replied defending yourself. And then she didn't reply to that. You waited 15 minutes and then said, "What do you think about that?" Because your insecurities were getting the best of you. And you were going, "Man, she hasn't replied back. I better ping her again." He goes, "Yeah." I go, "Yeah." And then he sent another text after that, like 10 minutes later, because she still hadn't replied, right? You can see this is the subtext that you guys are putting out there with your text messages. And I'm reading the subtext just based on the timing and what's going on, not even what they're actually saying in the chat, okay? She's reading this too, usually at a subconscious level. So then she finally blasts him with this big, long wall of text, complaining about X, Y, and Z. Doesn't matter. And he goes, what do I reply to that? I go, don't reply to it at all. And he goes, what? She's really mad here. Don't I have to? I go, no. I go, you're going to reply to her when she comes back to you with something pleasant. I go, because you see this text here where you sent something and then she didn't reply and you started developing this anxiety about, I might have messed things up. And I go, you're going to do that to her now. And I go, don't worry. She'll come back. She'll come back more pleasant. Right. And sure enough, he left her and he goes, so should I mark it as unread? I go, no, leave it unread. Leave it unread. Let her know that you read it, but just don't reply to it. And he goes, okay. And he's just not sure of this kind of stuff. Right. Anyway, 2 hours later, he comes back. He goes, oh my God, she replied. She's apologizing. And I go, I told you. And he goes, God damn, Dad, that was amazing. And I go, yeah, because I go, your instincts are bad about this kind of thing. I go, you've got to set yourself in a position where you're like higher value. And you do that by not falling into her frame, right? If she's bitching and complaining and you got to, you start arguing with her and start getting into an argument and defending yourself, you're operating in her frame now. I go, you have to maintain frame. Okay. So don't reply to that nonsense. Let her come back to you with something more pleasant. Okay. So when she came back more pleasant, it was still a wall of text. I go, just reply this, right? Because she was talking about how she hates fighting and and all this kind of stuff. And I go, just reply back. I agree. There's nothing to fight about. Let's talk about this tomorrow. Like real short. And so he does that. And she was way more pleasant after that, right? It was a much better thing because now he's setting the tone and he's leading that interaction, right? Well, now she wants to, this is where I'm going with this. She wants to also talk about boundaries. And I was like, oh, okay. You guys want to talk boundaries? I said, okay. I go, this is how you communicate boundaries. And I go, boundaries are what you will and will not tolerate. It's not about controlling what she does. Okay. So if something's important to you, because one of the things that's bothering him is that she spends all of her time hanging out and talking with her friends and almost like very little time hanging out and talking with him, which tells me everything he needs to know, but he won't listen. But it's like, she's just not that into you, bro. Right? Like a girl who's really into you will want to spend all her fucking time with you. Okay. I told him that. I'm like, something to think about. Right. Like, and it's okay. Not every girl is going to be madly in love with you. It's all right. Okay. But you want to find a woman who's like that. That's where you find that genuine desire. Okay. But if a girl's not doing that, like you can't negotiate that. And that's why I told him, because he was saying how he went to go and have a conversation with her about it. I'm like, yeah, but you're trying to negotiate desire. You're telling her, I need this. And if, she either does it or she doesn't, right? You can't convince her to do things that, you need. Because if you're doing that and that's not natural to her, it's all fake, right? Anyway. So I told him, I go, all right, fine. But this is how you communicate this, right? If your problem is that she's not making you a priority, then the way you communicate that boundary with her is you say, look, I can't be with a girl who doesn't make me a priority. I don't have to be her number one priority. I'm not saying she can't hang out with her friends, right? But if I'm around, I need to be a priority in the picture. I need you to come talk to me. If you're not going to do that, that's okay. But this just isn't working. Okay. That's how you communicate that boundary. It's not about telling her what she can and can't do. It's what you will or will not tolerate. Because if you're telling her you can't do this, you have to hang out with me, you can't hang out with your friends, that's controlling. But if you're just like, hey, look, I'm just not going to be in a relationship with someone who's not making me a priority, that's a boundary. You want to adopt a new standard of masculinity, okay? You're not chasing her anymore. You're building yourself into a man that doesn't chase anyone ever at all. Okay. Here's a little secret about the women you guys might not know. A lot of women will tell you that they want to be chased. A lot of women will put out information like men are hunters. They need to hunt. They need to be the one chasing the women, right? This is what conventional relationship advice is. It's not true. Women, in order to feel invested in you, have to do the chasing. Okay, so how do you do that when it is your job as a man to initiate that conversation? Because women don't come up and hit on men. They just don't. Okay, the way women hit on you is they put themselves in your orbit and hope you fucking notice. And then, that's what they do. Like if you see a girl that likes you in the supermarket, she won't come up and say, hey, what's your number, right? She'll always be in the same aisle as you. It's weird. She'll be checking your cart to see what kind of food you're putting in there, and she'll always just miraculously be in the same area as you, just hoping to God that you take a hint and you start talking to her. Okay. That's how that's girl game. It's very passive. Okay. It also, they are deathly afraid of rejection. They can't fucking handle it. So it's your job to at least get the ball rolling. Okay. You get the ball rolling. You initiate the conversation. You do the 3 levels of testing. You get her number or you invite her on a date right there, whatever you want to do. Okay. Then your job at the date is to let her do 80% of the talking, and you need to get her to an emotional high point, right? To where you eventually end up kissing her, right? Either in the middle of the date, depending on what's happening, or at least at the very end of the date as a test of interest. And you want to hook her. Okay. You want to create that hook. Then you want to start creating some mystery. Most guys don't do that. They ask for a second date while on the first date. That's no mystery. It actually comes across as needy behavior. You want to act cool as a cucumber. You actually want to make her start wondering, did he like me or not? Okay. There's various ways of doing that. I talk about it in my first book. Then you want to get her so interested, and this might not happen on the first date. It probably will happen after the second date at least, though. But you want to get her invested enough to where she starts reaching out to you first between dates. Okay. Once she reaches out to you, she's not going to ask you out on a date. She's just putting herself in your orbit, and you have to use that as an opportunity to set the next definite date. But that's if she's reaching out to you first, she's now chasing you. That's where you want to be. Because if she's chasing you, she's putting investment in, and women can only love a guy that they put investment in. Doesn't work the other way around. The more investment you put in a woman, the more you actually push them away. But the more investment they put in you, the more they love you. Okay. It's a fascinating phenomenon. So you want to be building yourself up into a man that doesn't chase anyone. Okay. And now let me give you something to think about, and then we'll wrap up here. Most guys think time is going to heal them, right? That one day they'll just wake up and magically feel better, but that day never comes because time doesn't heal anything. Only action does. And what happens when you wait it out? You stew in the same thoughts. You overanalyze her last text. You replay the breakup in your mind over and over again. You pretend you're moving on, but deep down you're hoping that she comes back. That's not healing. That's stalling. And the longer you stall, the deeper the damage goes. Okay? The men who truly turn their lives around, they don't wait for time to fix it. They take control. Okay? That's why I wrote Forget That Bitch. It's not just a book, okay? It's your battle plan. Pre-order it on Amazon now. Grab the workbook when it drops. So you're not just consuming, you're transforming, right? And if you want someone who's been through it and coaches others out of it, book a call with me, okay? I'll help you forget that bitch for good. All right. And let's end on this note. Getting her back isn't the victory. Becoming the man who doesn't need her back, that's freedom. And if you're ready for that next chapter, grab the book, sign up for coaching, and let's build a life so powerful that getting your ex back won't even be a consideration anymore. Sound good? Cool. All right, guys, tune into the podcast Friday. We're going to be talking about how to turn her complaints into connection. We will be talking about it under the context of frame and not being pulled into her frame through arguments, defending yourself, etc. So that should be a fun one because I know a lot of you guys get pulled into the bullshit. All right, guys, do be sure to like, subscribe, hit those notifications. I do have new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Thank you for the guys that sound off in the live chat. I appreciate you. We do have another super chat. Brother Mike sent a $20 super chat. Don't be like the king in Monty Python. Yeah, they told me not to build on the swamp, but I did anyway. That castle sank to the swamp. So I built on top of that castle. That one sank into the swamp. That was a funny scene. All right, let me give you the bouncing bubs video again. I got rid of the foot fetish video, so that one's not there anymore. That's just too creepy for me. But here's the bouncing boobs one.
Thank you for the super chats. Boobies bouncing, can't stop that. From the east to the west, you are the best. Keep those chats coming in, let's do it all again.
Hell yeah. All right, guys, that's all we got. We will see you on Friday.
This has been the Come On Man podcast. Now, go out and get it.